Hello and welcome to my garage. Today we're going to be looking at fitting a Towbar and electric kit to a BMW 5 Series Touring, which is the E61 model. The Towbar I've purchased is the Westfalia one that's specific to my vehicle. You'll be able to see here on the back there's a little drop down that suits the M Sport bumpers that my car has fitted. There does seem to be a great variety of different tow bars out there to suit the BMW vehicles. I would say it's well worth contacting a specialist and giving them your registration details so you can be absolutely sure that the one you've got is correct for your vehicle. I've also purchased the Westfalia Electrics kit. You'll be able to see here there's a CAN bus module that plugs into the vehicle's plus 12 volt supply. There's connectors here that switch off the rear parking sensors, and there's also a connector here for the rear brake light. Looking into the brake light afterwards, it does seem if you're unable to find this cable, it's not the end of the world because the CAN bus will still operate the brake light for you. I think the idea of this cable is if the CAN bus fails at any point, the brakes on the trailer will still work. Just going to very briefly run through the components. We've got the electrics kit there. This is the instructions for an electrics kit, and what I've done, I've downloaded a PDF guide as well and printed out these pages sort of full size on A4. Just makes it a little bit easier for reference. For example, this is these are the details for the trailer hitch. I've also got a nice little electric tester tool here. Hopefully you'll be able to see there's a little spike through there that you can put that on a wire and it will just pierce the insulation, so you'll be able to read what circuit that's on. We've also got the trailer tester tool here. Very helpful if, like me, you haven't got a trailer at home with you. You can plug this into your tow bar and the little lights will flash up to show you what's being operated. Trim tool, two of these, very useful for removing the plastic parts around the bumper and that kind of thing. We've also got a torque wrench. I think the only bolts that need torquing correctly are the ones holding a tow bar on, but obviously they're very important, so that's a useful thing to have. I've also got this Tessa. This is a fabric loom tape. Nice thing is it's very much like the original equipment tape in the car, and it's useful just for securing those cables. And lastly, a few zip ties as well. These will just help to sort of tie the job up at the end. There are a few zip ties included with the kit, so you may find the ones in there are enough for what you need. So on my car, I am going to be using the genuine Westfalia vehicle specific kit. I think you can get a general purpose kit, which is an awful lot cheaper. The concern I have though is that obviously you've got a fair bit of electronics on this car that we're showing things like rear lights out and that kind of thing. And even on my Mercedes, it has that kind of universal trailer socket, and if I do put the lights on the trailer, I get the warning light that's saying lights are out on the car. I mean, it's not all that cheap, the Westfalia. I think I paid £88 for this direct from Westfalia, but to me it seemed money well spent, and hopefully it should be it should work well with the vehicle. To give you a rough outline for the job, we'll have to remove the rear bumper. We'll then be lifting up that rear load cover under there to access the spare wheel area and the modules, and also we'll be removing the side pieces so that we can get at the fuse box to put the wiring in. So I'm going to lift the rear cover up. This black shelf underneath has got two clips just at the back, so I'll get those that all out the way. The side cover here I'm just going to remove altogether. That just comes away and lifts up, and same on this side, and I'll get all the tools and bits out of there. We can lift out and remove the spare wheel section. That's just this butterfly, wing nut in the middle there. And one really nice thing I have got is this foam moulding here actually accepts the Westfalia tow bar hook straight in. The spare wheel comes out next. We need to remove this boot carpet area to get to the modules underneath. This should just is a little bit on the stiff side, even when it's warm. If you sort of work around it carefully, you should be able to just lift it out. There we go. And then this foam cover just lifts off the top, and you'll be able to see all the modules that we'll be working with down there. The battery cover here needs to come out. That's those two 10mm nuts on top. Then we just lift this rear section up, behind the insulation there, and it should just lift. It just lifts away. So in the instructions, one of the first sort of things we do is to place the module. Hopefully you'll be able to see. I've just sort of tucked that up on the inside here, and I've connected it up already. Rather than using a double-sided tape that came in the kit, I've decided to use a bit of Velcro instead. I didn't know if I could put it. Got a nice sort of flat panel here where I was hoping to connect it, but unfortunately that's going to interfere with the battery cover when it goes back on. The next connections we make are to the, this is for the module for the parking sensors. If your vehicle doesn't have those, you have to run an orange cable to the front of the car, but just to sort of clarify that, that's the instructions there. So we've come in and found the black yellow. This is the black yellow twisted pair here, and basically we have an orange green and a green connector. Green goes to yellow, and then the orange green goes to the black. This next step I did find quite confusing, because it says in the instructions it gives you 2 red wires, but in my kit I actually only had the one, which is the one here. Now that connects up to this red blue. I don't know if you can see it there. The red blue is the one that comes from the module itself. I think that's the one that connects to the canvas. So that's got a 20 amp fuse in that was supplied with it, and this cable I've just routed up around the existing loom here. Let me just move the tester out of the way, and then that drops down there and back into the module. And the power for that CAN bus came from the these are two quite nice fittings here. They've just got a 10mm nut on them, and then you can very easily get, this is the wire supplied with the kit, and that just again that connects up to that 20 amp fuse. The earth wire from the module is a fairly easy one. That's this brown one here, and I've just put it up to that's a bolt going into the body there from the for the fuse box, and it seems a good earth on that one. The only other one I thought there's one up here, but unfortunately with the lead in the kit that isn't enough to reach it. Depending on which model you have, you may have either a green grey brake light or a black yellow. In my car it's a black yellow, and I was able to use my little circuit tester here to find it. The easiest place I found to connect to is up here. This is just sort of below the, let me just come back a little bit, so that's just where the you sort of got the back of the window coming down here, and then that's that black yellow that's going up to the high level brake light that's built into the boot. For some reason in the manual it seems to sort of suggest going here behind the rear seat, but I didn't really see any need to do that. To fit the tow bar to the rear of the car, we will need to remove the bumper, so we've got a set of screws that run down there. I think there's sort of 4 in total. We've then got the little clips here either side, so there's one there and one there, and that should be enough just to sort of start leaving the bumper back in order to get it off the car. So we just need to remove this little bumper cap here. Oops. There we go. It's just worth, let me see if I can find it again, just so if I can show you on this. These are actually handed, these caps. I think this one is the left one, and you might just see if it picks it up on the camera. There is a little L in the bottom corner there. So when you do put them back on, just make sure that you put the right ones on the correct side. So here we are, see at the bottom of the wing here, we've got these clips to remove. There are 4 of these that go along the back part, and use your trim tool. Hopefully should do have a really bad habit of breaking the head's breaking. That seems to be coming, and once you've got the head down a bit, you should be able to sort of squeeze in. Oh, it might need to come down just a touch more. It's hard, unfortunately it's hard doing this and holding the camera at the same time. There we are. That's good. The whole thing's come out there, so that's kind of what we're dealing with. It's sort of you've got a sort of a bit that goes into the body there, then this plunger that sort of seals it home. So I'm going to go around now and get the other 4 of those off. With the bumpers removed from the car, it's possibly really easier to see which screws we're undoing, the little bolts there. So you've got the one at the top here, you can see here, that comes through from the other side, and then we've got, hopefully you can see these, a bit dark one, the second one there, and then the third one at the bottom. With all the 4 screws out of here, we should be able to just sort of carefully pull this, and the whole sort of bumper should start just sort of coming away from the car there. And you should be able to just give it a sort of a firm tug now for this to all sort of start. That's it. So it starts coming away from the car now. So I'm just going to get an assistant to help me off the other side. That should be the bumper removed. And so we've just got to disconnect this the little plug here, which is for the rear parking sensors, and then we can put the bumper down carefully on the mat. If your car has the M Sports package, you will need this different rear diffuser, which has a hole in there for the tow bar to come out of, and then this cover to go over it. These are both genuine BMW parts, and I had these painted in body colour before I started the assembly. So I'm going to look now at removing this. This is the sort of the rear diffuser that's on the bumper. I've got these little Torx headed bolts, Torx headed screws to undo. So I'll get those undone, and we'll see if this lower part will drop out. So I've got all the little Torx fittings out, and I'm just going to squeeze and sort of lift that up, and hopefully, yeah. So that should just pop out, and I'll just sort of go along and free this diffuser off. So that's the rear diffuser off. There's 2 little sort of clips at the bottom here. They were a little bit stiff to remove. I can see on my new one, unfortunately I haven't got these sort of the quick nuts that are fitted already. So I'm going to take these off now and then fit them onto the replacement. So now I can carefully slot this back into place. So this is the 2 little clips at the bottom. They make quite a nice guide actually. So I'll make sure I get this in the right spot. And hopefully we should just be able to sort of close. Just work gently with this. Close these up with any luck. Looks pretty good. And I'll flip it round now, and we'll put those Torx screws back in. So that's our screws back into the diffuser there. I'm going to give this top area a little bit of a clean up before I look at refitting it to the car. It's also quite a nice opportunity to look at the bumper fixings now. This is the one that goes through the light, and then you've got the one at the top here, and then these two lower ones that sort of go into the splash panel. I was surprised. So I was expecting there to be some sort of fixings in the middle here to hold it onto the car, but there definitely aren't, and it does seem to hold on absolutely fine. So you'll be able to see here that I've sort of moved on and got the main body of the tow bar fitted. Essentially what we need to do is remove, we've got a bumper bar that runs along the back here. That needs to come off. That's held on just by it's actually by these 2 studs here. And then we've got these 4 nuts that go through holding these supports in place. These supports can be removed. They can be disposed of. You don't necessarily need to keep them, but I'll probably save them anyway. Then the tow bar itself is a single assembly, and you've just got these 4 bolts either end to hold it all in place. And then, as this is the M Sport specific model, this has got the little drop down for the towing hitch. Very easy to fit. You basically have a nut and bolt that go through there. The first part of the electrics involves wiring the hitch up. I found in the instructions it said that this should go the other way around with the lead coming in from the front using this sort of grommet section. In practice, I didn't really like the way that kicked the cable when it was turned around. So what I did, I used the sort of more standard fitting with the cable coming out the back. I'll keep an eye on that in case there are any issues, but I can't see there being any problems from it. And just around the back of the socket there, you'll be able to see I used some of that black fabric tape just to sort of make that all nice and watertight. I have just deviated from the Westfalia instructions for the fitting of this. This is the lead that feeds into the trailer hitch. It seemed to suggest either sort of cutting this and removing it, and then using their own plug, or possibly drilling another hole. I couldn't really see anywhere where I could put the hole in. There's a little grommet here, but this just seems to go into a solid panel. I couldn't see a way to get the cable out. So what I decided to do, this is the original BMW sort of grommet there, and it even had a little sort of slit in there that allowed me to put this hitch cable in. So basically I opened that hole up, I put a zip tie inside, and then I taped the end of the trailer hitch to it and pulled it back through, and I think it's made a really neat job of that. Whilst you have the bumper off the car, it's also a great opportunity to go through and give all this area a really nice clean up. It does sort of get a bit dusty and dirty. I was really pleased that there was no rust on there, and I think just giving it a bit of a wipe down with WD-40 made it look pretty much like it's just come out of the factory. So the bar's all fitted up now, and I'm just going to go around these and just check the torque, which is 55 Newton meters. Next we can fit on the bumper bar. This goes on, can only go on one way, because if you look here you've got a hole for the towing line. I think it is possible to put it on upside down, so just look for that when you put it back on. I've put some aluminium grease on these threads already. Unfortunately these nuts are the original ones. If I'd have known, I would have bought some nice brand new ones of these instead. So let me just get all four of these on. I haven't got a book torque for these, but I think if we did sort of 50 Newton meters, which is just a little bit less than those ones behind, I think that should be absolutely fine for them. So let's give these a pinch. There we go, and that's the bumper bar back in place. So you see where it lines up there? That's about it. Just a bit. So we just lift the bumper back into place and making sure we connect the parking sensor at the rear, and then we just all these will just sort of push in. So just gently, just let those sort of clip, and then we can start looking at getting these screws back in around here. So I'm going to put the 10mm nut back in there, the sort of self-tapping one. Get that good pinch up. So we've got both screws up, and let's just pop these little covers in, so they just pop in there. So we'll tuck them in the front first, mind the rubber, and hopefully they just click back in. So working up inside the wheel arch now, I'm going to start getting these fixings back in. I'm going to probably go with the top one first, and I've got some fresh trim screws for these. So these are just a standard self-tapping one, but as they were all pretty manky, the ones that came out, I decided to fit some new ones. So I'm just going to see if I can get this just see if we can get this started. So I just need to try and get it to sort of pinch. Yeah, I think that's just caught it. It's unfortunately all a bit tight in it. I guess it would possibly be easier with the wheel off. So I managed to get that top one started. And then what I'll do now is I'm just going to go down and do the remaining three down the wing. I'm not sure, you're probably not going to be able to see in here, but I've got the 3 bolts back in the wing there. And I'm just going to look at the underside now, and we've got the first of the little clips that just goes in the bottom there. And that's how I clip back on at the bottom of the wing. I'm going to go around and do the remaining 4 now. Okay, so I've been down this side now. We've got those 4 trim screws back in. Unfortunately, it's kind of impossible to film at the moment. And then the final screw was just the one underneath there that holds this kind of rear assembly in place there. Hopefully you can see that in the middle of the screen there. I'm still not particularly happy with how that sort of trim cover is sitting, so I think I'm going to have a look at the parts manual just to see if there is a different model available and I've got the wrong one on the car here. Now just to show you briefly, I did need to get a different trim panel in the end. You can see the 2 here. This is the original one on the car, and this is the replacement one. And this is the bit that's different. It's this little cut here, and that allows the cover on the bumper to slip in nicely. So what I'm going to have to do now is swap these 2 panels over. What I will do is add all the part numbers to the bits I fitted underneath in the video description. So working the rear of the car now, we can start to put our bits back in. We've got our foam cover first of all. This has an arrow on it, so you know it points towards the front. That should just drop in. We've got our sort of spare wheel cover next. Now this can only fit in one way, and that's with the sort of, you've got these two flat side pieces and a curved piece that goes to the bottom. I think this just sort of I haven't found a great technique for this. That just kind of find it sort of clips in on its own. Just a little bit of manoeuvring. So just find that middle hole and hope for the rest. I'm going to put the battery cover on next, purely because if I put the spare wheel and bits in, I'm about to lose one of these little plastic nuts that goes on here. So this just sort of drops back into, and the one down this side is a difficult one. So I'm going to try and just put that on top. And if I grab a screwdriver, get that, yeah, there we go. Get that going. So then we've got the spare wheel in next. Again, this goes bottom end in first, and then that locates. We've got the spare wheel centerpiece that goes in, and it's just a butterfly bolt to tie it in. Next we've got our boot tray. Let's just push it back in, and we've got these two little clips that go back in as before. Left and right covers, so they can just sit back in. We've got a second boot carpet. And finally this sort of boot protector. That's it. To fit the detachable part of the tow bar to the car, we lift this cover off. We've got the electric hitch that just drops down. You've then got a little red clip that goes in there just to sort of keep the hole clean, and then we can put the detachable part on. This is sort of, I leave it unlocked. I'm not using it, and then that just clips in. We can turn the key a half turn to remove it, and then we do have just a little black cover that goes on there. Removing it and putting it back again is pretty much the exact reverse of the procedure. So we take a little cover off, the key goes in, and it's a sort of a half turn, and you sort of, as you turn this sort of handle, you have to give it lift a bit, and then that sort of locks into place as you remove it. We put our red cover back in, that folds up, the cover sits back in that way up. And as you can see, without the tow bar fitted, you really wouldn't know it's there, which was one of the things I really liked about this kit, the fact that it was totally detachable and almost invisible too when not fitted. And another very neat feature of the kit is that you have somewhere to store the detachable tow bar when you're not using it. So we lift up the rear cover under here. That might just so in this the spare wheel well that came with the car actually has provision for the tow bar already, which is a really neat feature. So we can just drop that back in when we're not using it. Little cover can drop back in there as well. There was a Velcro strap included with the kit, which you can use to secure the tow bar with the detachable part down. It's so sort of heavy though, it just didn't seem worthwhile, and leaving these little slots free does give you a little handy place to keep the cover part. So I hope this video might prove useful to you for thinking about fitting one of these kits to your car. Generally, I say I've been very pleased with it. The only thing that there is missing is there is no provision for a safety catch, a sort of safety hitch for the brake on the trailer. So all I've done so far is just looped it over the towing eye, which is kind of fine for now. As always, with any questions or comments, don't hesitate to get in touch, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel to see more videos like these. Many thanks. Bye.